Well, today is day 285 in our journey through the Word. And we're in a situation today, in today's reading, where I just wonder are there times in your life when you just don't know what to say? So you just say something. We see that in today's reading, particularly with Peter. We see him, first of all, as Jesus walks with his disciples, he's asking his disciples, who do people say that I am? Now, this is not a prideful question. He's not wanting to know, who do people say that I am? He's wanting really to get to the question at hand of, to his disciples, who do you say that I am? And it's interesting as we think back along our reading in, again, all the miracles that the disciples have seen. The spot where Jesus saves them in the storm, and they worship him as Lord. And I thought it was interesting today when Jesus asked that question. In all of our readings, there's only one who responds, or is recorded who responds, and that is Peter. And I had to wonder, is he the spokesman of the group? Were the others, as we are sometimes, when we have the question asked in Sunday school and we don't quite want to be embarrassed by answering with the wrong answer, so we don't answer at all, did they not respond because they didn't want to give the wrong answer? But we see Peter's response, and Peter says, you are the Messiah. You are the Messiah sent from God. Again, Peter speaks the first to speak, the only recorded to speak, and he professes Jesus Christ as the Messiah. The flip side of that is the end of our reading today, when they're on the mountain. Well, let me stop in between. We go from professing Jesus to the point where Peter denounces Christ. And Christ is teaching them and talking to them about what he must suffer, what he must do. And Jesus denounces Peter because Peter reprimands Jesus. And I thought, okay, you've professed him as the Messiah. And let me turn my page here because I want to find the words that he says. It says, Peter took him aside and began to reprimand him for saying such things. And the things he's talking about is his death, his crucifixion, the suffering that he must go through. But he also promises them hope. He says, he will be killed, but 3 days later, he would rise from the dead. He's made it very clearly. And as we know in the days ahead, they're not going to remember that as they stand either at a distance or at the foot of the cross. They don't remember that he promises right here, promises in 3 days I will be raised from the dead. And again, you have to wonder, did Peter just not know what to say? So he feels like the only thing to do was to reprimand Jesus for the things that he's saying. And then we move to the mountain, the top of the mountain. And Jesus, they see a transformation in Jesus like they've never seen before. And not only is he transformed physically, but now before them are the prophets of old, Moses and Elijah, standing there with Jesus. And it says that they were talking, discussing with him, speaking with him about his exodus from this world, which was about to be fulfilled in Jerusalem. Moses and Elijah are there. Words encouraging, lifting up, talking about the coming days. Maybe even talking about what does it mean after. But they were talking about Jesus' exit from this world. And the disciples that are with him, and Peter is one, not knowing what to say, he just blurts out something. And he's wanting to build shelters for the three. That's not, when we don't know what to say, sometimes we just need not to say. And Peter again had an opportunity just to worship Jesus. Instead, he's wanting to do something for him. And that wasn't needed. That wasn't his purpose for Jesus taking him on top of the mountain. Those points where we're facing our life when we just don't know what to say. Maybe sometimes we don't. Maybe we need to stop and say, Father, what do you want me to say? What is it that you want me to do? And ask that of the Lord. And that is what Peter did. He did ask of the Lord, do you want me, should I build? No, that wasn't needed. That wasn't needed. We need to remember, I need to remember that I must trust God's plan in all things. He helps me. Father, I pray that you help me to understand there's more to your plan than what my mind can comprehend. There's more to Jesus' plan than what Peter could understand. Father, help me to understand that plan. Help me to know that you have a bigger plan than my mind can comprehend. Again, the words of Jesus to disciples on the mountain. God's word throughout, from the Old Testament to where we read today, and it will continue to be a theme through here. Do not be afraid, Jesus says. Do not be afraid. God's promise of hope. And as we talked about earlier this week, do not be afraid. I am here. I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you again tomorrow as we continue our journey